Hello people and welcome to Jaby Koay's channel. It is your boy Syntell, and today we are going to be doing a review on a film that I have been seeing a lot of memes on called Singham. What made me really interested in this is because on my particular social media there's this thing that's been going around regarding how American cinema does one thing and then how Bollywood does it better. And there's been a couple renditions of this meme that's been going around. And one of the scenes that is always shown is this scene in Singham where this truck that's rolling out of control flips over this guy's head and he snatches somebody out of the truck as the car is flipping over his head. So when I saw the dude's face, the main star that plays in Singham, I believe his name is, and please forgive me for saying this incorrectly, Ajay Devgn. When I saw his face, I knew off top, I was like, oh, this is that movie. I get to finally see that scene and get some context to go around with it. And let me say, it did not disappoint. So according to IMDb, the plot is a truly honest police officer is transferred to a town controlled by a gangster he has humiliated. The gangster believes he can use good power to bring down this officer. He can use good power? The gangster believes that he could use good power to bring down this officer who made him look foolish and weak. I don't know why it's saying it's a good power, because there is nothing good that the gangster in this movie does in order to get Singham out of town or exact his revenge on Singham. And before we get to that, you kind of got to get to the backstory of how this all begins. And Singham lives in this small village where he is the son of a respected man in the village, and he is the head of their police department. And he's just a really good, decent guy. Instead of letting things get out of control with arguments and stuff and meeting down at the station and filling out reports and all that, he decides that it's going to be a lot easier to kind of just handle things on the spot and then just kind of give justice on the spot. And because of that, he's pretty beloved. He gives everybody a fair shake. But there is this guy who is the bad guy in the movie. He's probably one of my favorite actors in this. His name is Prakash Raj, but in this particular movie, his name is Shikre. Shikre is a gangster who is accustomed to using force and whatever he can in order to get his way. He just terrorizes people, everything from extortion to kidnapping to murder, in order to put his will on the people or whatever it is. Well, he got in trouble and he has to report to this small town that Singham is in order to avert justice. So he has to come in for bail, put in his thumbprint, and then go through the whole process of getting his justice. So because he's a gangster, he feels why should I have to spend my time going all the way down there? So he sends some of his goons down to this small town in order to take care of his light work for him. But what he doesn't know is that Singham is in control of this small police department in this small town, and he's not trying to hear any of that nonsense. If you did bad, you got to come in here and and get your just due. He refuses to allow Shikre to just bypass the system, and he forces Shikram to be accountable. You have to keep in mind, this is a gangster, right? And he's not trying to have anybody come by and be yo, this is what you got to do. He's used to giving the orders. But in Singham's town, he's got to, pay the piper. You in my town, you got to do what I do, and he's not feeling it. So he flexes because he is a gangster and he is notorious for disappearing people and murder and extortion and all this. But Singham isn't having it, and he's got the will and of the people. His people got his back. They pretty much destroy his little motorcade and force Shikre into acting right. So obviously, this is a gangster, he's a man of means, and he's not feeling it, and he's embarrassed. He leaves Singham's town and heads back to his old hometown. But what we don't know, and this is when everything starts to turn on his head, is that he decides to bring Singham to his town and forces him to be transferred. And unbeknownst to Singham, who thinks that it's just, business as usual, he has no idea that this man owns and controls the town like he does. So he walks in there thinking that everything is going to be all good. And then lo and behold, who's sitting in his chair, Secret. Which brings us to another interesting point, because before the movie starts, you get a chance to be introduced to somebody that was under Secret's thumb, and he used to work at the police department as well. And because he was a good cop, Secret ended up driving him crazy to the point that he ends up killing himself, right? He takes his own life because he can't like put up with the drama. His wife, the police officer's wife, vows to get revenge on Secret for pushing her man to the point of committing suicide, and then also, you know, shaming him in front of the community, and then, like, to me, what rang the most true was shaming him in front of his son, right? To go back to the story, so when Secret decides to meet Singham in the police station, he's sitting in the chair where the former officer was that killed himself, and he's telling Singham, he's like, listen, man, you're in my town now, and when I was in your little village, you could do and say what you want, and you have power, and you embarrass me. But now that you're here, I'm going to make it like my life's work, my whole journey to make you miserable. And that's pretty much what he commits to doing. So yeah, so he says like, all right, so you're in my town, so there's going to be some payback. So he leaves, but before he leaves, he lets him know, he was like, if you don't think I'm for real, you know, ask your people, ask everybody around here what I did to your homeboy that was here before. He was like, he didn't want to play ball, so I drove him crazy to the point that he killed himself. So of course, our hero Singham is going to like do his due diligence, and he talks to members of the town and other people in the police station, and he finds out that it's true. He talks to the widow of the officer who took his life. So he realizes that, you know, I'm in like some serious trouble, and I have to try and figure out, you know, how I can still be a good officer and bring this guy down. Now, the way I'm telling the story, making it sound like it's not some kind of action comedy show, because it really is. It's really not this dramatic. It's really a really funny, over the top action police story, and that to me is what makes the film really good, is the fact that it doesn't take itself overly serious. Singham is this guy who can like chase down moving cars, beat up like 20 people at the same time. I told you about the scene earlier when he's like yanking somebody out of this car that's like flipping over his head and stuff. So you as you go through the show, you get to see like some of this stuff goes down as he's like beating up goons, giving people like these amazing pimp slaps. And I think it's like the lion's paw slap, because every time he's like laying down this this street justice, you hear like this lion roar in the background, which is absolute comedy. And then of course there's like this love interest played by Kajal Aggarwal, and she plays Kavya, this absolutely beautifully stunning woman is his love interest, and she's like a prankster. She's going around like scaring people and putting Singham in like a very uncomfortable positions, especially when it comes to like admitting that she likes him, and then kind of like pulling his arm behind his back and forcing him to marry her on top of that. Their back and forth is funny because she's also the daughter of another powerful man in his small town who doesn't really necessarily like Singham and wants the town to respect him for being, you know, this powerful industrial man. But they give him like this nickname. I think it's pronounced like Goatee. I don't know the context behind it, but it must not be something good because they keep saying it over and over again. And it's like he's trying to run from his roots. Well, anyways, they live in the town that Secret runs. So he brings his girl to this town. Well, excuse me, he doesn't bring his girl. His girl already lives in this town. So he already kind of like knows somebody that's there. And they're still like dating, and as he's like fighting crime and getting to know his little love interest a little bit more, you know, you can see like the connection kind of like really get established. Well, anyways, as the story progresses and madness starts unfolding more and more, Singham realizes that he's like out of his element, that he can't administer justice like he did in a small town, that he's got to kind of like really twist some arms and then actually like embarrass some people in order to get them to put Secret to justice. And it doesn't help that Secret decides that he's going to run for public office as well. And if he wins this public office, he'll be seemingly untouchable. Singham, with his back against the wall, has to embarrass his superiors and the police force in general in order to get them to do right. And he kind of like forms this group, like these three amigos who help him like whip everybody into shape. Long story short, a little too late. He actually does get this justice. He does have the police force act on the behalf of the people and bring justice to Shikare. But they do it in a way that's kind of interesting to me, and that is that they actually kill this dude. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like, oh, you've learned your lesson, slap on the hand, shame him out of the town or whatever it is. But no, man, Singham actually like shoots this dude in the seat of the police officer that took his life, and that's how they get their justice. I was shocked by that. Wasn't expecting bullets to be doing the justice that it did. But regardless of that heavy moment, it was still funny and it was still a good film all the way around. Now, I hear that there are additional versions of this that's out there, so I'm definitely gonna check those out. I think there's like 3 of them, and apparently there's like this universe that's been built around this first film called the Cop universe that's in Bollywood, and I guess there's other spin-offs of various other films that kind of like deal with all of this in this world, this over-the-top world. So I'm all in on that. I'm looking forward to trying to review maybe a couple of those films. But yeah, Singham, it was good. It lived up to the hype. I love the over the top. Please keep all of that up, because I think movies take themselves a little far too seriously at times, and every now and then you just kind of need to like fall back and just enjoy the ride, and this is absolutely one of those type of films. All right, so thank you for hanging out. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already, hit that bell icon. It'll let you know when any new content is going to come out. It also helps the channel out a whole lot. So please check out our other trailers, reactions, short films, and interviews. It's your boy Syntell. Peace out. Catch you on the next one. Oh, one more thing. If you do want to hit me up, you can please hit me up on the Twitter sphere and also on Instagram at Syntell. That's SYNTELL. I'm hoping somebody puts a little graphic right there. And it's at Syntell on Twitter and also at Syntell on Instagram. Other than that, I'll catch you on the next one.